Sounds of the Week on iRadio.
Another the Kalim Hajawa, why so much you, Kumajinu, Oma der Hill Matakal with a Sudan, Nazkul Jani. They are some of it a Gadishu, Inas Keti, Garbasim Kala, no Chaluzol Baramikosi. I said, Junu, Oma der Good Jan debate. I said, Akuma Maga, the Shakal Hajalesha, the Shakal Doblesi, Loakuma can jab Sherakat, Azul Dui, Shakal, Azul Mutale, Shakal, Tali, Malidu, and Kanaja the Kanku. Yakina said, I'll do job Matakal Keti, Junum Sudan. Sherakat Mafi, Musan Mafo Gadiwa, Modar Mashakali, Tawari Mafi, Tuga to Gali, Player, Umlasaman Maya Mafi, Magadri Abul Salam, and Junupineza and Shedra. Hajawa, Chakan Manwaba, there is a role of Junupi. Kalim and Yamut Salam Kamana, in the Rabba, the Gymnast, and the Shagal Roman. Lobi of Machakal Kali was our defied Shagal and as Machakal that note was Arata and Mr. Junupi.
Sounds of the Week on iRadio, your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, this is iRadio 1 o'clock news. First, here are the headlines. The governor of Upper Nile State has confirmed that at least 14 young men were arrested in Malakal town following an incident on Sunday in which 2 people were attacked by suspected criminals in the main market. The Twitch and Ngok Dinka youth have signed a peace deal aimed at ending the series of conflict between the 2 communities. And the National Bureau of Standards has ordered the return of 6 trucks carrying 3,840 bags of white sorghum after the consignment was deemed unfit for human consumption upon arrival at the Nimule entry point. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Barry Johnson, and now the news in detail. The governor of Upper Nile State has confirmed that at least 14 young men were arrested in Malakal town following an incident on Sunday in which 2 people were attacked by suspected criminals in the main market. According to James Kong Chol, the suspects were involved in a robbery that left 1 victim lightly injured and discharged from the hospital, while the other is still recovering. He stated that one of the victims was reportedly from Reng County and had his money stolen during the attack. Speaking to iRadio this morning, Governor Kong says the attackers were mostly civilians who had been drinking and loitering in the area before carrying out the assault. He clarified that the youth were arrested by security forces and that the investigations are ongoing. James Kong denied claims that the attack targeted any ethnic group, including rumors of widespread violence against Nuer residents in Malakal.
Yeah, they were just loitering, beating anybody, and on the market, and then they were all caught, and then are now taken to the court because they are civilians. Yeah, the injured are not many. It's only one. It were 2 people, but there was a white one. One of them even was. You see, one of them came from the beginning of the case. One of them came from bank with his money. Then he was robbed and beat. But it was a light wound, and then I've been discharged by the doctor in the hospital. The another one also is also admitted, and is now recovered. So these are the only two cases. They were targeting anybody in the market, but because of fear, some of them they feel that because the fighting that happened in Wulang, and that's why they fear, and then they hide themselves in their houses. So the situation now, they have come out, and the situation is normal. Normal.
The incident came more than a month after reports of fighting in Nasir and Ulang counties in Upper Nile, which may have contributed to rising tension and fear in Malakal over the weekend. Governor Kong assured the public that calm has returned to Malakal town and that those arrested will face legal procedures. He says security forces continue to patrol the area to prevent further disturbances and urging residents to remain calm and report any suspicious activities. A civil society activist in Upper Nile is urging both the state and national governments to end ongoing hostilities following reports of escalating violence and growing fear among local communities. John Long, the executive director of Royal Aid Development, a local NGO operating in Upper Nile, expressed deep concern over the deteriorating security in the Sobat corridor and its wider impact across the state. Speaking to iRadio this morning, Luong called on government to end the hostilities.
Actually, my call is on the state government, the Upper Nile state government and the national government to cease the hostilities in the Sobat corridor, because that fighting now has caused a lot of insecurity and fear within the community that are living in Upper Nile state. That is not confined only into those areas, that conflict, because it has even spread some time back to Tonga. It has also spread to the area of Forguam, and even currently there is fear also in Rang, and all the other counties in Upper Nile, people are living in fear because that fighting has provoked the situation all over.
John noted that fear of renewed violence is causing people to flee Malakal town, while economic activities such as small businesses and fishing have come to a halt. He also highlighted that prior to the renewed fighting, Upper Nile had made strides toward social cohesion after years of division stemming from the conflict that began in 2013. The activist is now urging leaders to heed the voices calling for peace, emphasizing that the continued fighting is preventing communities from recovering and rebuilding their lives. He stressed that violence cannot resolve political disputes and called on the parties involved to pursue dialogue.
To me, violence has never solved any political issue. If there is any political grievances between the warring parties, they should embrace dialogue, because a lot of voice has been calling for dialogue, and the government is not opening up for the dialogue. And I don't know why there is a resistance for dialogue, because the dialogue has solved a lot of problems all over. We know it. Even in South Sudan, we know that the fighting that we were fighting previously before the peace agreement, the CPA in 2005, it has never been won through armed conflict, but it was won when people went to the table and talked on the issue that are affecting the nation.
John also called for urgent humanitarian access to areas affected by displacement in Nasir and Ulang. Since February, airstrikes and violent clashes have displaced an estimated 80,000 people in Nasir, Ulang, and Lungichu counties, according to the UN. Approximately 23,000 have fled into parts of Gambela region in Ethiopia. Many others wait in displacement sites along the Sobat River. Widespread fears of a further escalation, including reports that fighting might resume in Nasir, indicate mass displacement is set to continue. The Twitch and Ngogdinka youth have signed a peace deal aimed at ending the series of conflict between the two communities. The peace dialogue that started on 9th April in Wau, Western Bahr el Ghazal State, concluded on Saturday, April 12, was facilitated by the National Ministry of Peace Building, UNMISS, UNISFA, and supported by many NGOs. According to a document obtained by iRadio, the peace pact covered cessation of hostilities and opening of roads for free movement of people and goods. They also denounced hate speech and social media propaganda against each other. John Nyamchot Deng, who is the Twitch Youth Secretary General and head of delegation, signed on behalf of Twitch Youth. Meanwhile, Deng Aguer Deng, who is the chairman of Abia Youth Union, signed for Abia Youth. The Abia Minister of Information has confirmed the agreement. Johanna Akol described the Saturday truce as successful as it addressed the root causes of the conflict.
kan tumi da ta raba al-akida fi innu الناس توجه هاي سمة العدوان اللي كان أول صراع قبل كان موجود يعني المجتمعين. الاتفاق ده كيف أعتقد إنه يعني يدي فرصة لإنه الناس الفاسدين إنه بعدها يعني ممكن يجي يقعدوا ويجي يناقشوا حيثما جذور المشكلة عشان تصل لحل نهائي للصراع. ده الحاجة اللي الناس يتفق عليه وفات بمنظورنا البسيط إنه يعني ناجح.
The authorities in Warab are yet to comment on the peace deal. According to the agreement, the two communities will form a joint committee with representatives from either side to monitor adherence to the cessation of hostilities, verify instances of violence, and report them to the relevant authorities as well as community leaders. You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. The National Bureau of Standards has ordered the return of 6 trucks carrying 3,840 bags of white sorghum after the consignment was deemed unfit for human consumption upon arrival at the Nimule entry point. The shipment, which was imported for humanitarian purposes, underwent mandatory inspection and testing upon arrival on Saturday. Laboratory analysis revealed that the sorghum failed to meet national safety and quality standards due to physical damage, contamination with foreign matter, and poor overall condition. In line with its mandate to protect public health and ensure product quality, South Sudan National Bureau of Standards carried out comprehensive conformity assessment and destination inspections. The agency said it acted swiftly to prevent the substandard grains from entering the local market. As Jan Paulina Edward, the Acting Director General for Technical Operations at the South Sudan National Bureau of Standards, who oversees testing, clarification, standard development, and quality assurance, provided further details on the incident.
The Numuli station detected that there is a truck coming from Tanzania holding 3,840 bags of white sorghum, which discovered it's not fit for human consumption. The truck are coming for humanitarian aid, and the inspection revealed that the consignment have impurity and then have like foreign matter plus insects, like the consignment is totally damaged. Therefore, we had a very long argument because the consignment reached South Sudan on 21st of March, but the humanitarian agent was like feeling like they can do something like resorting of the consignment, but unfortunately, it is totally damaged, and therefore we told them that there is no way either to re-export it to the country of origin or to dump it in Nimule. And they went with the first option, whereby we're supposed to export it to the country of origin. So we sent the truck back. And this is one of our efforts to make sure that which is coming to South Sudan is meeting the standard specification and the quality requirement. So this act based on the ESC standard.
The National Minister of Roads and Bridges confirmed the selection of a consultancy firm to develop a concept design for the road linking South Sudan with Ethiopia. South Sudan and Ethiopia are set to build a 220-kilometer road connecting the two countries following a $738 million USD financial agreement signed in May 2023. On June 25th, South Sudan's Transitional National Legislative Assembly ratified the Ethiopia-South Sudan Financial Agreement to build a cross-border highway. It will link Ethiopia to South Sudan through the northeastern side via the towns of Paluch, Mathiang, and Maiwut Pagag. Speaking on Friday before boarding a flight to Ethiopia, Simon Mijak said preparations were ongoing for a major road project intended to connect South Sudan with Ethiopia. Mijak has acknowledged delays in the key road project but assured citizens that progress is underway. He stated that once the current exercise is completed, a selected consultant will join the ministry's engineers on the ground to develop a concept design for the road. The Roads and Bridges Minister emphasized the project's importance in enhancing regional integration and connectivity. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to delivering the road facility to boost economic and social ties across the region.
After this exercise, the expectation is that the selected consultant will go down to the ground with a team of my engineers from the Ministry of Roads and Bridges, and this will produce a concept design for the road. This exercise is necessary because the project has delayed. We accept that, but the Ministry of Road assured the people of South Sudan that this road facility is going to benefit the region, as it is going to be a regional integration road and connectivity.
And finally, the Minister of General Education and Instruction is expected to announce the results of the 2024 South Sudan Primary School examination this week. The announcement comes after a month of marking and verification processes supported by a 2 billion South Sudanese pounds allocation from the Ministry of Finance. In November 2024, over 79,000 candidates sat for the Certificate of Primary Living examinations across 551 centers. In February this year, Simon Nyok-Deng, Secretary General of the National Examination Council, confirmed the funds were part of a £7 billion budget for marking both primary and secondary exams. The primary 8 final exams marking began on March 3, 2025. During a briefing to President Salva Kiir over the weekend, Education Minister Abul Kuyuk said his administration finished marking and processing the results of primary 8.
The purpose of the meeting was to present the results of the primary 8 certificate. We have finished marking and processing the results of primary 8, and His Excellency the President blessed the results, so the Ministry will be able to announce the results to the public and to the students on next week. We were also able to take the opportunity to update His Excellency the President on some of the activities that the Ministry is engaged.
President Kiir commended the ministry's efforts and reaffirmed the government's commitment to ensuring quality. You are listening to iRadio News, and now to the regional and international news with my colleague Tekjok Lam.
General Bryce Olusegun Nguema, who in 2023 led a coup that ended a near 60-year dynasty, has won Saturday's presidential election with more than 90% of the vote, provisional results show. Ahead of the vote, critics argued that the new constitution and electoral code were designed to give Olusegun Nguema a comfortable pathway to the top job. Elsewhere, Iran and the US have concluded a first round of talks in Oman over Tehran's nuclear program, the highest level meeting between the two nations since 2018. Both countries described the meeting as constructive and confirmed a second round of discussions will take place next week, with the US hailing the direct communication as being key to striking a possible deal. And finally, Ecuador's National Electoral Council on Sunday declared President Daniel Noboa the winner of the country's presidential race after he held a steady and unexpectedly wide 12-point lead over the leftist Luisa Gonzalez throughout the count. Gonzalez told chanting supporters she did not accept the results and will demand a recount, calling it the worst and most grotesque electoral fraud in the history of Ecuador. And that's all on the regional international news. I am Tekjok Lam.
Thank you, Tek. And now to the sports news with Walma Pal.
Good afternoon to you, Barra Johnson, and to the listeners of iRadio. Welcome to iRadio Sports News. To begin with, let's begin with our local football, and that is South Sudan Premier League, where Wajuma FC will secure a dominant 5-0 victory over Young Star in the 17th round of the South Sudan Premier League, climbing to 5th place on the table with 28 points. Aluglual was the star of the match, netting a hat-trick and earning the Man of the Match title. The heavy defeat pushed Young Star down to 13th place, second from the bottom with just 10 points. In an earlier match, Al Malikia shared points with Al Salam, who will in a 2-2 thrill. Al Malikia now sits in 6th place with 28 points, while Al Salam will holds 8th place with 21 points. In English Premier League, Liverpool moved to potentially one win from the Premier League title as captain Virgil van Dijk's late header helped them beat West Ham United at Anfield. Victory means that if Arsenal loses at Ipswich next weekend, the Reds can wrap up the title by beating Leicester City. while Newcastle United strengthened their push for Champions League spot in the absence of unwell boss Eddie Howe with a crushing 4-win over Manchester United at St. James Park. Wrapping our sport stories with basketball, the LA Clippers and the Minnesota Timberwolves each secured a playoff spot with victories on the final day of the regular NBA season. The Clippers finished 5th in the Western Conference with a 124-119 overtime win over the Golden State Warriors, who dropped into the play-in tournament. James Harden scored 12 of his game-high 39 points in overtime as the Clippers set up a playoff meeting with Denver Nuggets, who had already qualified for the playoffs but clinched 4th place by beating the Houston Rockets 126-111. Anthony Edwards top scored with 43 points as the Timberwolves beat the Utah Jazz 116-105 to finish 6th and set up a playoff for the Los Angeles Lakers. That's all from the world of sports with me, Walma Pal. Back to you, Barry Johnson, for the news headlines.
Thank you, Walma Pal. This is iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. The governor of Upper Nile State has confirmed that at least 14 young men were arrested in Malakal town following an incident on Sunday in which 2 people were attacked by suspected criminals in the main market. The Twitch and Ngok Dinka youth have signed a peace deal aimed at ending the series of conflict between the two communities. And the National Bureau of Standards has ordered the return of 6 trucks carrying 3,840 bags of white sorghum after the consignment was deemed unfit for human consumption upon arrival at the Nimule entry point. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at half past the hour. I am Barry Johnson. Thank you for listening.